When you embark upon the weird endeavor of being a stepdad, you have to keep in mind that the chances of you bonding with that child, especially if it's a boy, are slim and none. Because boys don't want replacement fathers. Every now and then the scenario will work out if you start off from the beginning when the boy is a baby or something like that, and if the boy only knows you as his only dad, it may work out. But in most of these scenarios, what happens is you end up taking upon the responsibility of being a father to a child to whom you can never be the father. And when the child doesn't want you in that position, nothing the mother does, nothing you do, nothing anyone does is going to make that happen. Now, someone sent me a video on IG where this young kid looks like he's about 11 or 12 years old, is sitting down with his granddad, who looks to be at the very least in his 60s. And he's pulling this boy in the collar, having to threaten him to stop disrespecting John, who is his stepdad, because his mother came to her father and said, he won't listen to John. He keeps disrespecting John. It's really a sad situation, man, when you're a man in a household and you need the assistance of a man in his 60s, maybe even 70s, to help handle your household for you because you can't get the respect of an 11-year-old boy. Let's take a deep dive on this one. But first, let's elevate to a higher plane. Prepare for takeoff. Now, the first aspect of being a stepdad that I want you men to understand is that the spiritual bond with that product of your being cannot be manufactured. That bond only happens when you are actually the child's father. No matter how much work you put in, no matter how much time you put in, even if you appreciate it in that position while you're in it, because you're never appreciated after you're done with it. But even if you appreciate it in that position while you're in it, that bond is never going to be created. You can't manufacture the spiritual bond between a man and his child. Only a biological father can have that. And so when you put yourself in this position, you're already starting off behind the 8 ball, because the very necessary thing required to be an effective parent, an effective father, is gone. So what you're doing is simply just being a male role model in that situation. A stepdad is a fancy way, an inclusive way of saying male role model to separate you from the coaches and the mentors and the tutor and the pastor and the deacons and the uncles. So they give you your own title to make you feel like you belong. And they throw dad on the end of it to make you feel really a part of the family. But you could never be a family with a woman and her child or children by another man. That's never going to be a family. They always have other descriptive adjectives to frame around that family. Split family, blended family, step family, new family, but never just family. Besides that, the majority of single mothers are not going to allow you to punish their child. They're not. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you can't punish a child, you can't discipline a child, because even if the punishment is never necessary, you have to at least be able to wield the punishment as a result of not listening to your lead or not following your instructions or just completely disobeying you. But in this situation, you can't do that. And so the woman has to go and complain to her father about the weak man that she's with, who can't even garner the respect of her young child. Let's take a listen to this video, man, and we'll come back and chop it up on a real tip.
If I ever hear you, if Candace ever tell me anything about you gave them some respect, you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do to you? Huh? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to whoop that butt. You understand me? I'm going to come over to the house and whoop it. That's what John needs to do. You need something on your butt because you're too fast. You understand me? And you're going to have to start listening to grown folks. John is a grown man. Okay? And you start treating him like that. He's more of a daddy to you than your daddy is. You understand that? When the last time you seen your daddy? Yeah. Well, when the last time you seen John? Well, you better start appreciating him, boy, because that pissed me off when Candace tell me that you don't respect John.
Any masculine man who would purposely settle for a scenario where a child or children have the power to not only disobey, but disrespect you, you have to do some soul searching and figure out what kind of man you truly are. What kind of manhood you represent. Because that is an absolutely egregious scenario to put yourself in. It makes no sense for you to willingly put yourself in that scenario. You know the amount of stress that you have in a situation where a little boy is disrespecting you? Disrespecting his mother? She can't handle him. You can't handle him. Because if a little boy disrespects you like this, where the granddad has to get in, man, he probably disrespecting you in public. He probably tell you things, you're not my dad. But you can't knock him for that. You're not his dad. These children understand the connection that they're supposed to have with their dad. And they don't want a makeshift dad. All these storybook endings that you hear, man, they are far and few in between. That is not the norm. It is the exception, not the rule. When a granddad has to step in like this, he's only doing it for his daughter's sake. Not because he respects you as a man, not because he wants to help you as a man. Now, he looking at you like you weak. He can't respect you. This man is in his 60s, man, and he snatched the little boy in the collar, man, pull him up to his face, man, and say, man, hey, man, let me tell you something. I'm going to put something on you if you keep disrespecting this man. Because that's what you need. That's what John need to do. And then he got to break down and try to guilt trip the little boy. Hey, well, where your dad at? When last time you seen him? When last time you seen John? Pretty much telling him, hey, this man is in your life. He's making this decision to be in your life. You should appreciate him. People have to stop trying to force these kids, man, to accept a man who's not their father. He's a child. He don't understand long term what this going to mean to him. He just knows that here's a man who's not his father in the position that he wants his father to be in. Now, I don't know what took place between the woman and his father, his mother and father. I have no idea what took place. I really don't care. I know this is a common issue in a certain sector of our society. But the bottom line is you as a man have to ask yourself, why are you putting yourself in this situation? It's impossible to be a man in a situation where your woman is the disciplinarian and punisher. A boy would never respect you deferring to his mother. He doesn't even defer to his mother. That's part of the issue in these particular scenarios. You got a little boy who is starting to feel himself, starting to feel some testosterone bubbling in his body. And now he's starting to think he's a young man. And here you are a grown man. And the boy ain't got to listen to you. The boy ain't got to pay you no attention. The boy don't have to obey you. The boy don't have to respect you. You should leave that situation. What are you doing staying in the situation is what I want to know. Is the woman loving that good, bruh? Or are you just in a situation where you can't take care of yourself? You got to live with that woman and live in her crib. Because I can guarantee this man is living in this woman's crib with her and her child. I can guarantee it. Not many men are going to have a crib and then invite a woman and her child to come live with him. Not many men are going to do that, especially not long term. A man may meet a woman and she going through something, man, and he like a man, and he may let her post up for a minute, but he's going to quickly tire of that. So in this scenario where a man is actually staying there being disrespected, and in that scenario, that man's not going to let that child disrespect him. He's going to tell, hey, he can't come. But if you live with that woman, you ain't got no options. You got to be there. You got to take it on the chin. You got to deal with it. And you got to accept the disrespect from that child. And this is the crazy thing. After all of this obvious effort, because you got to put in some effort to deal with a situation like this, that you spend trying to make the personalities gel, you will most likely be forgotten after the breakup, because the breakup is going to happen. You will most likely be forgotten and replaced by the next contestant in the revolving door of stepdaddism. There is no need for any man to put himself in this scenario. It is not a pleasing scenario. It is not a scenario where you deserve any props or respect for being in it. It is a sad scenario. when a 60-something-year-old man has to step in and do the job with a young boy that you can't do, and you're the one in the house providing for him, or at least helping provide for him, trying to guide him, protecting him, taking care of him, doing all of the things that a father would do. And he looks right past you and goes and lets his granddad just jacks him up. And you know what he says? Yes, sir. And doesn't do anything disrespectful, sits there and takes it. You know why? Because the boy respects his granddad more than he'll ever respect his stepdad. You should be ashamed as a man of being in a position where your household has to be tended to by a man who's really just too old for this shit. And here you are, so weak, so out of control in your environment that you got to draw him into this foolishness. And he, at his age, has to threaten to do something that could possibly give him a heart attack. Because he ain't got no business at 60-some years old having to jack a little boy and threaten him to respect you. If you out there and you in this situation, man, I want you to understand that this is not a scenario that you should be proud of. This is not a scenario that you should be happy with. This is a scenario that should make you feel like less than a man. Because, brother, I'm going to tell you like this. If a little boy is winning the power struggle in your household, you're not a man. He's the man of the house. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.